3 Super Bowl rings. All right, like when you talk to your audience, your worshipers, your followers in the morning, you and Evans, and you guys just crush things. What is the? I mean, I think he stays in Green Bay, but what is the feeling there this morning in Denver when they're driving to work and calling your show? What is the feeling this morning on Aaron to the Broncos?
Like people are like, hey man, either drop a load or get off the pot, for crying out loud. At least tell us what you're going to do. Quit being cryptic. Like, I think there are a lot of people that are really excited about the potential of Aaron Rodgers. And then there are a lot of people, Colin, that look at Aaron Rodgers and say, well, that's a 2-year fix. And then what? They want that young quarterback. That's somebody you can build a team around for the next 15 years. And, that's what they thought they were getting with the Jets and Sam Darnold, or Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, or Josh Rosen in Arizona, or Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. Like, that is not a foolproof situation. So I'm one of those guys that I'll trade away unknown commodities for a known commodity, even if it's only for a few years, in order to win a championship. You think they regret it in Tampa Bay? And I know he wasn't tradable. I know Tom Brady was a free agent, but you know what I'm saying. So I think the most part, people would love to see Aaron Rodgers in Denver Orange.
Well, it's interesting. We've said this, is that there are teams, and I think Denver is the team in the league that with the right quarterback could win the Super Bowl. They could go from average to below average to Super Bowl, and I felt that with Tampa and Tom Brady. Like, they just needed a quarterback. What is the option if Aaron doesn't sign? Like, what's Denver's second choice?
Yeah, based on a gut feeling for me, and I still have some ties within the organization, but the gut feeling for me is that this is one of those situations where they're going to continue to build this roster under George Paton, former assistant general manager of Minnesota, continue to build the roster, and then go after a veteran established quarterback. Whether it's a Jimmy Garoppolo, see if there's a trade available for a Kirk Cousins. What is that next tier quarterback? And, I think that's the direction they go. And Aaron Rodgers, the next tier of guys, and then figure out if you're going to go for a bridge quarterback and try to draft somebody. If you still think that Drew Lock's career is salvageable based upon the offense that you're bringing back to Denver. Remember, when he was under this offense, back in Vic Fangio's first year under offense coordinator Rich Scangarello, who was an assistant to Kyle Shanahan, went back to San Francisco. Drew Lock played fairly well. He was 4-1 as a starter. So you're bringing that offense back. And maybe you feel like, man, under that offense, under that influence of Nathaniel Hackett, there's some potential growth here for Drew Lock.
Yeah. You sat down with Brady this year. I don't buy the 49ers stuff. He's very prepared and detailed. It just doesn't feel like he'd retire, then unretire. That's just not
right. I
mean, the guy doesn't drink a beer for 7 months. I just think when he retired, it's over. But he goes on his podcast and says, I'm open to stuff. Would you be shocked if Tom came out and was a Niner? He's from there.
Yeah, I would. I would. Like, I don't see him. Like, Aaron Rodgers, I see as a mercurial guy. I see Tom Brady as a completely detailed, well thought out. This was not something that was just spur of the moment. And then I get the people that say, well, the relationship soured between he and Bruce Arians. And let me tell you, if you play for Bruce Arians, there's no virgin meat on your butt. It has all been chewed, regardless of who you are. So I don't look at it like, man, my feelings got hurt and things went sideways. I mean, that happens during the course of a season. But I just look at him as so detailed and him so planned out. Now maybe a year away from football and he decides, hey, man, I can still play. I've been keeping in shape. I want another opportunity. Maybe there's a chance, but I don't see him walking away from Tampa, after a playoff run and saying, I'm going to go over to San Francisco and see how that works out. I don't buy that. I just think he's too detailed for that.
By the way, the Rams lost their OC, coach of the Vikings, and then he hired another Ram assistant to be his OC. So they lose 2 more guys. They've lost 4 coordinators in 5 years. They've lost multiple assistants like Joe Barry, Shane Waldron. I mean, it's like Bama losing offensive coordinators. you tell me when you guys win Super Bowls, and maybe society wasn't quite as mobile, but you're getting cherry picked. So I'm looking here on the board of the former Sean McVay assistants. Good God, he has lost a lot of really high-end guys. Do you think at some point there's just too much? It's leaking. You just can't be. You can't be quite as tight next year.
Well, I think that anytime you lose really good coaches, that's always going to be somewhat of an issue. I guess you have to look at the organization. So from the offensive side, Sean McVay really runs the program. And obviously he's got, like Kevin O'Connell was really his right-hand man, but he's got other really good coaches. And I think one of the things that you have to understand when you're a Sean McVay, you've had the success that you've had, and you are a developer of young coaches, you've got a pipeline of guys. You understand that this is part and parcel of being a champion, part and parcel of winning a lot of football games. And so, you have got veteran guys, and this is another thing. You're not a coaching staff that's coaching a bunch of young players. You've gone out there and you've said, we don't really value draft picks. What we value is accomplished football players. So we're going to go out and find accomplished football players. And so they already have the nuance down, and they can help essentially coach the coaches as we develop and as we promote young guys to fill those spots. So, I think it's a good problem to have. And I think, Sean McVay is to me, one of the most dynamic leaders in all of football. There's leaders because they're in a position of authority. And then there's people who lead because they are so dynamic that others want to follow.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who leads. He's not just a leader because he's in a position of authority. He is a leader because he walks into a room and he energizes that room, and people want to follow. People want to believe. They want to buy into the why of Sean McVay. And so, I guess it's a good problem to have that you've developed coaches and they all get opportunities.
By the way, about a minute left, 45 seconds to a minute left. Aaron Rodgers had that old Instagram with a bunch of hearts on it and like Hallmark sayings and stuff. What'd you make of that thing?
It felt like he was saying goodbye. Now, is he saying goodbye to Green Bay, or is he saying goodbye to the NFL? You went back to back. You went back to back MVPs. Can you really say goodbye to the NFL? I mean, he was throwing sweet nothings to his Friday crew and his coaches and all the people that have helped him along the way. From his Instagram to God's ears, I hope he's leaving Green Bay, and I hope he's coming to Denver. But selfishly, I have a radio show in Denver that would really be helpful for my ratings if he's listening.
Yeah, so you saw it as a goodbye. I mean, it had a bunch of pictures, Joy. It had a bunch of I didn't hear it as a goodbye, but my instincts are off all the time. So Mark Schlereth says, Joy, what did you think? Did you think it was a goodbye?
I mean, that's kind of like a closure post.
You fell. Oh my.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.